Okay, so good evening. At this point, I'd like to call to order the BAR meeting of April 21st, 2025. It's 5:30, and welcome all, particularly yourself. Thank you so much for joining the bar.
Well,
First
you for
order of the
having
day,
me.
so thank you very much for your help. So this is introduced William Lindsay, registered and practicing architect who is now kindly helping us out. Present are Christopher Gao, Tom Birmingham, myself, Stephanie Rinzer, Billy Mincy, and Rob McQuilkin. Thanks, Desiree, for taking the minutes. And thank you, John, also. The first person today is Mr. Whitty, please. Do you come forward and explain the progress you've made with your plans?
This is Tim Dill.
Tim Dill, can you say that for the record, please?
Yes, it's
Dear.
Tim Dill. I am the designer of the project.
Okay,
Just to help Rich along if you guys have any questions. So
Yeah, sure.
so we're hoping you might take us through the whole idea with this and
okay, so pretty much what we have in front of you here, and I believe there's a couple of people that came out to look at it. What it is a pondless waterfall, or a disappearing waterfall. And the reason why it's called the pondless or disappearing is that when it's shut off, there is no standing water.
okay,
So anytime that Rich or the family go away and there's no one at the house, or even in the evening time, he can shut it off. No problem at all. And there will be a small pooling area. So this is the patio on the back of the house.
Right.
And he has a retaining wall going along here and a couple of Japanese maples throughout the yard. The idea is that the waterfall would come down. It would be facing more towards their back veranda over here. A couple of cascades down. When it comes in front of the patio here, we're gonna have a small pooling area, right? But the pooling area will only be about 6 inches deep. And when the system shuts off, that will drain down into the reservoir. One thing he does have now here is a downspout leader coming off the house. It's just dumping off into nowhere. I'm gonna utilize that pipe and tie it into the waterfall and then have it eventually go down into the basin. The one nice thing about that is if he has heavy rain and the basin is a little low, it'll actually act as a retention. It won't create any more water to the system, but it'll actually take that rainwater and give a place to retain it before it actually flows over. Where now, anytime it rains, it's always just dumping on the property. A lot of times from evaporation, the system goes a little low and you have an area in that reservoir to hold that excess water from the roof. That also utilizes the roof water to have him not have to use house water from the, so he'll actually be able to recycle the roof water. And then on his property over here is a storm drain. So I'm going to just either pitch the basin, but most likely run a pipe over there so it dumps into the storm drain instead of running down the yard out into the roadway.
so is there like a big drain in the middle where the water gets sucked out that could kind of take turtles and wildlife with it, or like a big open drain that?
Nope. So that's a awesome question. So right here, there's a little cross section on the drawing here. And what happens is when this basin is built, we excavate down and there's cubes inside of there called aqua blocks. And they're the storage capacity. They sit inside of a rubber membrane, the liner. And then on top of those blocks are actually gravel. And then you can see the blocks right here, and over here is what's called the vault where the pump is housed. So the pump is totally screened away from anything. So the pump, there's no way wildlife can get into there.
The pump is below ground or is it?
Yeah, the pump is actually below ground.
Okay,
Yep. In a vault with a safe lid on it, a lid that locks on top
I see.
and covers over. And then the reservoir is made out of these blocks, and that's all covered with gravel. So as far as
The reservoir is this 10 by 8 basin down here essentially?
that's correct.
Okay, okay. And how deep is that?
The basin itself, excavation is around 21 inches.
That's enough, you think, for holding this?
But it's gonna drain,
And-
it's
and
gonna drain
stormwater-
away, right?
And stormwater, no, I mean, you got that, you feel you got that all covered.
That's correct, yeah.
So where
We
did
have a large basin on there.
Yeah,
The only thing we didn't cover was making the basin extra deep so you can run it in winter time. It's just ran for summer right now.
all right, so this will be seasonal then, it won't be running there in the winter time. Rich?
I never thought about it.
You know, you could if you wanted. The thing is that to me, with a system like this, a lot of people want to do it, but it's always the hard time of the year when you lose power or you lose water and now it's shut off and you have water in your pipes and you have to drain it.
You
And
got the
and
ice.
to me, or in this area of the country, I try to stay away from it as much as possible. So unless it's like, if you want one for the entrance of the Tuxedo Park, you know.
where did the koi go? Where did the fish go?
There are no fish.
There were never any fish.
Oh, so it's just a decorative thing. It's not for.
Yeah,
That is correct, Chris.
it's not deep enough for fish.
And it's regularly empty, right?
Correct.
So. It'll appear empty because the blocks they're using to construct the reservoir will absorb, the water will be
Below that,
below
correct.
that.
Right.
So when it's not in use, you will not see really any water to
I don't
speak
like
of.
to make them that way because if they ever shut it off and the water's not moving, then that's when you could have a mosquito problem. But as far as moving water, the mosquitoes won't be there. But if it had stagnant puddles and you shut it off in a yard, you could have
Sure.
problems with mosquitoes and insects. So we don't build them that way for that reason.
And how does this little pond area you described, how does that drain?
So what will happen is, instead of building the pond with rubber membrane and making a dam with soil, so the membrane comes up to hold the water back,
Yeah.
I will actually set a boulder there and then I'll use, foam, which is not 100% waterproof. So wherever that boulder sits to, that's where and that'll be at the bottom of the pool, it'll drain. So I'll just be building a dam. It's enough to hold back the water,
I see.
to make the waterfall flow. It's all the water still encapsulated in the liner, but when it shuts off, it's able to drain down.
Oh, so there won't be stagnant water there then when that,
That's correct, yeah.
see, I see.
There was a stormwater management plan that was implemented when he built the house. None of this interferes with that. There was a few layers of, or levels of drains in the backyard, maybe further away from the house. I don't remember
It is.
distinctly. But we don't want them disturbed, in any way because they take most of the water from the house, and probably the roof.
Yeah, the only area that I'll be digging will be in that basin
They're
area.
kind of here, aren't they, those drains?
Okay.
They're kind of on.
Yeah, there's one,
Right.
this is looking down the hill, so you guys, this is coming down the hill. There's one like over here,
Mhm.
and then there's one all the way over here. Yeah, somewhere like that.
And how far do you estimate the end of the waterfall basin is from the wall at the end of the house? I'm sorry, I didn't get there to look at the markings from the basin or the reservoir.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 25 feet from the patio edge is where the basin will be. This is about
A big drop from there as well, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah, there's a little bit of elevation here, so we'll get some drops here. And then we'll have some drops up in here, and then this will be more of a stream section.
Yeah, it's like in line with the catch basin, I think, right? Aren't you about?
It's right above, like, this here falls right above
Okay.
if you look at catch basin, yeah.
Well, once again, as long as the drain infrastructure that's there is not disturbed. That was part of the original, approval for the house and the stormwater management plan.
And have you done any other ponds in the park?
Have I done any other ponds?
You have other clients in the park that you've done this for?
We're working with, a lot of times I work with George, Soros every once in a while. If he gets a pond project, he's doing one now. He's doing a house. So I'll be adding filtration into there. Every once in a while, yeah, we're in the park, a lot more maintenance.
But no, the pondless, you haven't done one of these before.
Not an ag pondless. I've done a fountain or two, like just vases, bubbling vases. But as far as, ponds or water features, no.
And where are most of your clients? Are they
all over.
You guys are out of Warwick, is
Out
that?
of- I travel all over. I was just on Long Island working on, in the Hamptons.
Mhm.
You could follow me on Instagram. I was in Africa for the month of December at a 200,000 acre safari. So we go all over. But it's kind of funny you ask that because our clients, I wish it was just like Tuxedo of Warwick, but sometimes it's like an hour away here. Like right now I'm working in Washingtonville. We're registered and work down in Rockland County. We're registered home improvement contractors down there.
'Cause it seems that, you know, we're in such a beautiful place and with such natural beauty that something so artificial, in my mind, seems, I don't know, it jars me somehow. That because I must say my father used to do every house we had. He tried to do this in the backyard, and it was always we just hated it. So I'm biased. But it was trying to make something natural that's not, and it always looks so artificial and so fake. So I just wanted to show that was my thoughts on it. That it's and if it was, you know, if it was permanent and it would attract wildlife and you'd get, you know, that would be a value added. I would love that. But if it's just purely decorative and purely imitating nature, it seems, you know, Bruce Price would, I don't think he'd be very pleased. But
So, well, with this in mind, I was wondering, is there any interest in actually having a pond at the end? Just a beautiful wildlife pond where you could integrate the idea of a waterfall with an actual working pond that would help the birds and
With,
All the critters.
with good sort of oxygenating plants and plants that would cleanse the water and provide a sort of habitat for, you know, amphibians and so on.
weirdly, I'm actually thinking of coming before the bar because there's some water needed in one spot. But anyway, so I'm just asking whether that could be something you might consider, because that would really add something to the park.
The reason we're not going, at this point, not going there is because now you have to make it deeper.
Mhm.
Now you're gonna get raccoons, foxes, mosquitoes. So there were a lot of negatives with running water that's like 2-3 feet deep. Also, the safety features. Our property, no kids would probably ever walk it, but still, you know, I didn't want to put a fence around it.
No, it's good not to have fences, that's for sure.
I mean, you'd have frogs that would eat the mosquitoes. The whole ecosystem, you'd have such a healthier garden with a water feature. With that, you know, it's that's what water features are great for that. Moving water, oxygenated water, stagnant water, no. So water features are great for that sort of thing, for dealing with it. You want a nice portfolio of wildlife for good health.
So you would prefer, I mean, it would still be great for wildlife. The biggest thing, Rich, you would have to do is just from when the start of the season of like March till the end of the season, which is normally right around Thanksgiving, you just leave it running and then the wildlife would be able to come and, you know, pollinators and bees and birds. We do those a lot, little pollinator gardens and stuff like that. That's very popular. We'd actually have one in Pine Island in the park, a little for the garden club. So that would be, you know, and you can keep the pump as variable speed so you can turn up or down on the flow. So you can always have it lower at night.
Well, I assume you have a generator, Mr. Woody, so I mean, how much, like in a storm event or something where you had a few days without actual electricity over the lines, I mean, how much electricity would this take to keep the pump running? And
The pump that's in this system is around 600 watts.
is that something that's comfortably handled by a generator?
It should be.
Yeah, I have a full generator for the whole house.
High powered, yeah.
And is this visible from the road? I wasn't able to make the visit.
The top might be, I don't think the bottom is.
I don't think it is. I walk that road a lot. I don't think you can't see the patio,
Just gonna
so,
show,
yeah.
I'm gonna show, I just took a few little snaps in case someone.
When you,
wasn't
somebody stand
able
there,
to.
you can see the person, but you can't see the
Mhm.
patio.
And that's one of the things we do pride ourselves on is the natural aspect of what we build.
Show exactly, it's close to the house.
That's just the layout
go
of that
for it.
restaurant.
Ah,
All that,
okay,
so that's-
right.
That's that tree there.
Yeah, I liked the way you guys were using the grade, right, sort of hard on the,
Mhm.
it's quite, it made much more sense in situ to me, like when I visited.
Yeah, definitely. And it's my understanding that there's natural granite that was found when the new house was, there was excavation done, and there's a thought that that natural granite might be used.
In a section or two, yeah, he has some used around his patio edges. So over here along the patio, there's some natural granite used and there's some natural granite used. And maybe in the section of the stream, just edging it like it's been there. So it's large slabs of granite that's been found, I guess, was it from in the park? You,
Was that from the Barbet house that was there
That's
before?
the original Barbie.
So that's where these moldings come from, these, the moldings, like these molded sections
Mhm.
on that
Yeah.
pile.
That was price small.
These one,
Oh, yes.
so did you look at these
Yes,
pre-cut sections? How would you make that look natural?
it would
Is there
be
architectural fragments?
in one of the sections, I was thinking about incorporating it as like an entrance stone on the side, to the pooling area. So.
So where it needs to be square and straight. you
Doesn't
put the
really need to be
moldings.
square, but just because Rich wanted to incorporate some of that,
Mhm.
that stone that was sitting on the property. So, and just have a story behind it, I think, right? Kinda.
Mhm.
And what other, so we saw a picture of these plants as an example, but what actual planting do you have in mind? Because those wouldn't go for our area, would they? That's sort of
More tropical.
indoor kind of plant or more.
Yes, that's all tropical. That waterfall there is, that's in the Bronx. Well, these, he has existing maples. And then I would just mainly keep it simple to maybe some spirea or stuff that's native.
I mean,
I'm not gonna be planting, so I won't be doing any planting. We don't really. Once in a while I'll do, but as far as whoever does plant to keep it native, we haven't really discussed about plants on it.
No,
So-
just adding one Japanese.
One
maple.
Japanese maple as of right now, so he
one
has.
thing that has the advantage of being indigenous, but also very much in keeping with this kind of Japanese themed thing, which I think is guiding the design, are blue flag iris, which you often see in a
Yeah.
sort of semi-aquatic or aquatic context. And there are blue flag iris, there are also yellow flag iris that are also, I think, Christopher, indigenous both.
Yellow's bad.
Yeah, we're not allowed to sell
Yeah.
yellow. It's
So that flag iris is not indigenous, just the blue flag
yeah,
iris.
the yellow is actually illegal too.
Oh, really?
Sell
How
at a
interesting.
Retail center in New York, yeah.
It's, got it.
Certain stuff like we're lucky around, but you get down south, they can't sell water hyacinths or floating lettuce because if it goes in their waterways, it'll spread. So there's certain yellow flag irises, some
It's
invasive.
joined that,
Yeah, same thing with like butterfly bush. There's only certain varieties now that you can sell
Mhm.
because
right.
the old ones were just going everywhere, barberries.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Well, what about a red bud instead of a maple? See, the red buds almost have a Japanese aspect to them. If you look at them.
Yeah,
they've
sure.
They've got that flavor.
That's
See,
sort
that
of
would be a native alternative that is much preferable to to maples because you've already got quite a few Japanese.
But to balance everything out, I mean, I love Japanese maples. I mean, I love them. I think they're the most beautiful tree. To replace, to do something I really don't want to do because I think it takes away the beauty and the flow. Because it almost, my whole thing is, and I think you're right, it's almost like a flow with the Japanese flavor to it. And all the natural stone and the redwood thing. I just think it goes so much better.
So you're planting one additional Japanese maple
just to balance it out.
amongst all the other Japanese maples. That's all there is, right? Every tree is a Japanese maple.
No, there's other trees there.
But this one is the one that you're going around is definitely a Japanese maple.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you explain to me, the Redwood Bridge, is that secured into the stream or how is that? I just see Redwood Bridge.
It's a slab of redwood that Rich has.
Okay.
Okay,
He has the slab already, and then what I'll do is I'll put a concrete like footing so the bridge can rest on each side, right?
okay, because I see an oblong Redwood Bridge.
Yeah. It's like a raw cut, would you say, like
Oh, yeah,
raw
yeah.
edge? Rare
It's-
wood, it's like beautiful slab.
I mean, it's a large slab for a redwood. It's probably from here to the cut there.
It's sort of like a George Nakashima sort of table or something. Like
It's, as I said, it's a table my wife
Yeah,
gave me for,
the natural edge.
yes, and it's about
Yeah.
that thick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Thicker than
it's really-
Nakashima.
really that.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, and that's going as a
Nakashima's
bridge somewhere.
granddad.
Sorry, I
Yeah, that's going.
Was-
Yeah,
don't see that.
no, it's not here. It's going
Oh,
Yeah.
right here, okay? And then the water's supposed to go underneath it. And then basically you're supposed to be able to walk from here to the bench.
Okay. What do you think?
Well, I have a stream in my backyard, a native stream, and I love the water and it's year round. And I like the notion of a pond. I don't know if ponds have to be so deep. Yeah, I mean, our stream is, what's the shallowest pond you can?
18 inches, which would be technically, I mean, if you're gonna do fish, you wanna go 24. But 18 inches if it's just gonna be a wildlife pond.
And that would be beneficial to frogs, salamanders, water
Turtles,
bugs,
yeah.
turtles, yeah. I mean, I have to say that would be a big plus. I mean, it would be to make it a net enhancement to the environment.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, we like things pretty, but we also like things pretty functional as well. So if you added that to it, I would vote for it. Without that, I wouldn't be able to vote for it. Because it's, we've got so much natural beauty and this seems so artificial in this environment. It would be more, for a place where there isn't this natural beauty around, in more suburban environment. But if you do that, if you do a pond for the wildlife, then I'd be happy to vote, to give you my vote.
If we did that, where would the pond?
The pond would have to go down in this area. It would take up.
Just enlarge
It's
this,
just
maybe
just
double,
enlarging the basin.
maybe.
It's Double.
It couldn't be
100%.
double the size of the basin. That would be impossible
Oh.
because the volume of the storage down below has to be able to take the amount of moving water in motion.
So what would you recommend as a,
A pond size for
Yeah.
that size, for that length stream would have to be pretty substantial. Average 4 foot by 50, so 4 times 50 is 200 here. Be a pretty big sized pond, 15 by 20. Is because the surface area has to encapsulate it, where this is underground. So the basin's large, the basin's size to be over 3 times the amount of moving water.
there's no way to have a final destination that's sort of moderate in size and sort of use some of the technology you're already using to get as much water off as you need, but allow for a working pond.
What will happen is when if the pond doesn't have enough water in it, and you turn the stream on, then the pond will sucked down too low to make the stream work because
Hmm.
of the way the pumps are with the skimmer unit. Where this here has the pump is down below like a sump pump in this system.
So I think such a large pond, I think that would open up a can of worms in terms of the magnificent oaks you have and there's not a lot of topsoil in it. That would be a
Yeah, and it's
negative.
slow. And it's steep there too. You just get steep.
You're
on this.
encroaching
Yeah,
the catch
that-
basin. I mean, the
Yeah,
whole drainage system comes into question a little bit.
This is a very private part of development is it's not visible really from any other place. And while it might not be perfect, I think it's a thoughtful design that for what it's meant to do is okay with me.
I have to say, I'm with these guys. I would have preferred, and it would make the whole thing much more attractive to me to have a pond that actually was working ecologically, in this property. But I think it's clearly, this process of talking it through leads me to favor just what you proposed and not trying to.
But is there any way of trying to increase the pond size to make it somewhat functional?
To me, the difference between a pondless waterfall with pooling water and a pond, the only other wildlife that you can't have here is fish. There's no area for fish, but as far as tadpoles, butterflies,
Even in the existing, so maybe.
in the existing, in this
So
feature
actually, that's a
here,
really good point. So maybe the idea is to keep this, but winterize it, because it's important that it be a consistent fact.
yeah,
And take all the precautions to, whether that's some kind of heating, et cetera. Also, I think the choice of plants are then important. And so I assume you give your clients sort of like a portfolio of native aquatic plants.
And you
that-
said you don't do planting at all, or do you?
we do around features, we just don't really landscape, we don't offer like that feature there.
Mhm.
I planted in the Bronx, here and there I will. And then a lot of times, a lot of landscapers come out and plant that have more plant knowledge than I do. I mean, I know a lot of, bee balm and, you have black-eyed Susans or stuff like that. And then I don't know which ones exactly when it comes to that, what's more invasive or not. So,
Well, if we're trying to give it a kind of useful, I don't know
Mhm.
whether pickerel weed or something like that is out of scale to something so small, but the kinds of things that are indigenous and will oxygenate and clean. I mean, different plants do different things in the water and enhance the opportunities for, say, newts or salamanders or whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, there are books about this. I mean, maybe you could even talk with someone who does specialize in plants as a sort of
Mhm.
complement to
Yeah.
your work.
So, I think, we're pretty kind of divided on, but I think we're seeing a possible compromise. But I think in order to formulate it, it would be really good to have a list of the plants, proper gardening plan with it at the same time. And perhaps you could give some more thought just in case you can expand it and to make it more of a pond where more plants have a space.
There's also another problem, okay? The whole yard as you go further is ledge, okay? And we had 2 years of just machines in there chipping away, just trying to get down a couple feet to put the stormwater system in. So Tim came and we tested where the basin is gonna go. And we got to 28 inches or 22 inches.
We got 20,
Okay.
yep.
But
22 inches.
beyond that is just ledge. So now you're just dealing with noise and just a lot of work and a lot of money. and a
Yes,
lot
just
of-
a slab stone is under that, like a rock.
Yes, that's why if you look at the grass, it's hard to keep grass because there's not enough soil. Even though I fertilize it and this and that, it's just, you can take a shovel and you can go about that far in a lot of places.
Yeah, all down in this area.
But I don't think depth is an issue. I mean, we're basically, what is proposed, we would just be, the one thing that we'd be asking for is a year-round functionality. But every other sort of particular here would remain just as proposed, I think.
But with a planting schedule.
With a year-round sort of, and planting, year-round function planting to provide an environment for some species of amphibian insects. You know. Then it would be a real net enhancement, not just to you or
And
to,
that's a big cost for someone to lay out a planting design, you know,
Well, this is the challenge. It's imitating nature, and to imitate nature is very expensive. So it's, you know, it's a big task, and so that's why you know, it's I find it problematic.
but there are horticulturists and, garden designers who come before us all the time. I suppose John could even, I don't know what's appropriate, mention some of the people who are active here. And maybe they're even, if there's a wildlife center or at, if there's a naturalist, say, who works at the entrance to Sterling State Forest, you could bring them on board to give some advice about.
It doesn't have to be a big expense,
Yeah.
those grasses and plants.
yeah, the plantings are very minimal, but like what kind of design layout do you want? I mean, as far as, you'd be keeping it, as far as a plant design goes, to me, around this would be keeping it native with just going to the nursery and picking up plants that are native to the area. Do you need to know what specific plants would be in it, a list of it? Do you need to have a drawing of where each plant's gonna go and how many plants are gonna go? Like,
Typically, we'd like a list of what type of plantings and quantities. And I think along with the plantings, even the stonework, have to look like it's been there for 100 years. And the stonework, I guess, is part of your part of the project.
yeah, we use
Yeah,
all,
so the stonework and the planting should really make it look like it's,
that's
natural.
always our goal. So, I mean, and I don't know how much fans you guys are of social media, but you're always able to check out. I can give plenty of more pictures.
On
I mean,
Instagram.
I'm Instagram, so there's a story every day of what I'm doing. It might have just expired because I'm here. Normally I update it at the end of my day, so you can follow along on what the company does every day, whether it's maintenance or building.
but I think part of the problem is we see this
Yeah.
picture and that's, fine, it was done in the Bronx, but that's not reflective of what you find.
No, that's
Yeah.
kind
In
of.
Tuxedo
the opposite
Park.
of what
So if
we
you can
need.
give us a few pictures of what you're doing here and what it'll look like.
More of like
Yeah.
stream-like situation.
And the plantings,
Yeah.
if you've done other work in
Yeah.
Orange County that
Yeah.
resembles, the plantings that'll thrive in this area and are not invasive. And that's what has to be used to tie this together to make it look like it's been there 100 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're looking for you to enhance the borders around, going
Yep.
out a couple of feet from the water itself and just.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to
make it
say,
more like a natural stream rather than just a, run of water.
an easy.
Slip slide or something.
Easy go-to are any of the New York, native New York ferns, of which there are many. And that's, if you were to have one ingredient that's going to help you here, that and flag iris and whatever other, pond aquatic plants are good for filtration,
Yep.
oxygenation, and actual wildlife habitat. I mean, they actually, a lot of these amphibians use the plants. I mean, the protection that they give.
But you get all these fabulous dragonflies, they're also
Yes.
known as mosquito hawks.
Yeah.
They just take care of they're so beautiful. to
Talk about
watch.
an enhancement to your terrace. I mean, which you probably already have the bats around, which I love. But the bats and the barn, the chimney swifts and the swallows and the dragonflies, I mean, that's the action.
You go to Stonecrop Gardens. Have you been over there in Cold Spring? There's Frank Cabot's garden called Stonecrop. It's a rocky terrain. They have water features and native plants. They have a nursery. I think they're even having a plant sale soon. And it's exactly that natural environment that that I think you're sensing that you're looking for.
Oh, great.
So there are two books that by Bill Kalina that you can just open that book and pick anyone and just say how many you'd like. William Kalina, he's a wonderful gardener who has a whole list of species that can be used in our area. So you can get that in the local library. Also,
The,
it shouldn't.
the whole purpose of this was to make it look natural.
Exactly.
And everything we planned is to make it look natural. Okay.
That's
Okay. Now, of course, every once in a while, you might, I was thinking about, we have a stone wall, like maybe having the water go into the stream which you would need a spout, I guess, a jar or something like that.
Yeah.
But also, we made it so we would be the people who would hear it, not the public.
Right.
Okay. The original stonework are pieces of art. I mean, it says Tuxedo Park. The redwood table my wife hates it, but I'm going to tell you, it is absolutely a piece of art. Okay. The problem we run into is, I do like the plants and I do like animals and this and that. I just don't want it to become a point where I got to worry about kids, my grandkids falling into something. Letting it run all winter, I think that's beautiful, because then you get the ice and the flow, and the slope means that it will naturally fall down. We're not creating any more water at all. Okay, but to put in a pond, that just creates all kinds of problems because I know the land. It took them 2 hours to put in that 2 years to put in that stormwater
Yeah,
system.
I think we understand that.
Yeah.
I don't think we disagree with you on that. So I don't think we're talking about increasing depth anywhere in this, so that you don't have to worry about
For
kids or anything like that.
for
What we're
winter
talking about is
time.
enhancement around the borders of the water to create a more natural looking and more environmentally friendly feature for the overall project.
Well, from what I hear, Tim is an expert at that. I mean, we were all on the same page when we all looked at it. We all came up with the same thing. This is the perfect place for it. It looks natural. We're going to use natural materials. We're going to frame it. It's not going to disturb any neighbors.
Right.
And natural plantings, I have no problem. I don't think that's a big deal, actually.
Good. So we
So-
just need to see a schedule, an idea of what you're gonna plant there, and we can take it up from there.
Okay.
Great.
And
So we could
whatever
put you on the
tech-
next, we could put you on the next,
Just to
And so-
interject on, the planning schedule and also whatever technical details are, relevant to having it be an ongoing,
Right.
year-round, multi-season
well, you just said you
feature.
hate that, right? Earlier
Well,
on.
The only thing I hate about it is the fact that if anything does go wrong, it's kind of like,
You're gonna get the call.
well, yeah,
No one
and it's
else is gonna
freezing
get
and
the call.
we're out there, yeah, so like it does, but I just designed one, I don't know if you ever heard of Woodlock up in Woodlock Springs or Woodlock, the Pines, the whole entire big community up there, it's ranked like the number one of the best vacation things in the Poconos. So I just did for the front of the spa, we're building a 6-foot high waterfall, like natural look. We build into, I know like you're worried about rock, we use all local rock, it's all granite moss stone. So it has age to it, because that's really important when you're building.
Just one question, do you use any chemicals in this water? Fluorine or anything like that?
No,
Never?
Nope, it's all natural. There's all natural, water treatments that's in
The
it.
water source is your own house supply, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
so it's just basically tap water. It's going.
So you don't need to add any to clean the pumps or anything like
There's
that. You
no
don't.
chlorine or any chemicals. It's all fish safe, animal safe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all water treatments that are
Okay.
fish and animal safe, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll come in, I'll get them a list of
Yeah.
Yes.
plants that we can use around the outside. You want to keep them mainly native, right? And obviously you have to keep them pretty native around here. I'm sure the deer are pretty bad anyhow. So, when you guys see a landscape design, quick question, do you guys like to see it more minimalistic, like, like say like 5 different plants and keep it in patches and
Yeah,
fields?
you
Like
just
that's what
put
I would.
crosses, like crosses for, and Ys and
envision,
squares,
yeah.
and then a list, 5 of
So it
those.
keeps
and
it very simple and
Yeah, right.
Natural as possible.
as
yeah.
natural as
So
possible.
it's, we enjoy this beauty of Mother Nature as opposed to like, oh, who made that? Be a compliment to you that it looks as if you're Mother Nature.
I hope not. I mean, this is my 24th
High-
year at
high
Garden
bar.
State Koi, so,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
When do you think the next meeting could be? Just so
We're
it's
going to go straight on the next
The
one.
First Monday in May.
first Monday.
Yeah.
That's about 2 weeks at this point.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thanks so much for coming in.
My next,
Yes.
how many more are there?
There's one more.
You're the penalty.
Mine is one issue. I'm back. So do you have the images?
No.
It's just in the-
Yes, the Lellahan. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll cost you.
Mm.
Charging me for this.
Mm.
It's just
Well,
a bad-
it's, this,
That's
so that's just a strain
I don't know what.
fencing. This is closer to what
This is the
exists
actual,
right
but
now.
you know it anyway.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. That's my bad.
Yeah, there we go.
Right. No, two of them.
Yeah, then there's the ID. Here, maybe you need this one.
Would you like to talk us through it?
So this is actually a pretty good picture. Sunny one. I wanted to give you guys the sunny because the other one, as you can tell, even in terms of color, it's hard to get a sunny image because of the dappled light. So it was the best we could do. But the idea is that this is, we had it painted this color, and this is like the color. It's just sort of like that raspberry color. I'm looking.
What do you mean you had it painted?
I paint like
The what?
You painted the
that
stucco.
color. Yeah, that's just so we could see if we liked it.
Because ultimately it will
Wait,
be
but is the
tinted.
color, the stucco has the color,
It's that color.
but you painted over the old stucco?
So ultimately,
Why?
Stephanie, ultimately what they want is to have stucco that is tinted, but this is sort of was a temporary thing just to sort of as a,
But the whole, I thought that we had we went over this laboriously, that the original stucco with the mica and the depth and was just so rare and delicious and beautiful and divine and precious, and that painting it whatever color was a bad thing. So
Well, what did you paint it with? What, like a stucco flex or something?
Two things, we just painted. Two things. Number one, that we discussed this at our last visit last year. That tone that you're describing, Christopher, is actually from decaying stucco. It's not because it was done in that way. As stucco decomposes, it starts to show this micaceous effect.
Mhm.
but we thought that was the the patina, like we talk about the tuxedo patina. That
But
was
we have, I lived in a building from that same date, from 1930, that had the micaceous effect purposely, and it's, since it's indoors, it was in an entrance hall. It was there as an effect, and I'm 100% sure that Chastellux is purposely has mica in the stucco so that the color changes with the sun.
Mhm.
It's really spectacular in different lights. So I think those architects of that time aimed for that effect. So it was the building was integrated with nature and with the skies. It's really incredible.
I
There's some
mean, and there's no reason, and there's no reason why, we just came back from the Czech Republic where our friend had restuccoed her house in Strešovice, sort of same
Mhm.
period as well. Actually, it was sort of 28, 27. And so she'd reskinned the entire thing with mica.
right,
Because it's in the historic
exactly,
district. And so-
right,
So there's no reason they couldn't do that.
right.
If the intention is to, as I think it is, to restucco it with a
Is
new
that
color.
you're restuccoing?
Yeah, we have to because it's cracked.
Right.
You could add the mica and other
Um,
particulate into it.
Honestly, I hadn't thought of that. I can understand your view. I will say a couple of things. Chateau can't really be compared to a playhouse that was built for an adjoining estate. In terms of, it's a grand house that was built by famous architects.
I think this is actually chicer. Really.
It's a cute house, but I mean, I think we have to be careful without having historic record. Because we do not have historic record of what this house had on the exterior. When it was built in we don't even know what year it was built.
But you're saying the stucco that was there is not original?
There are many layers. And when we look now, it's all been covered over in the back where, they did the addition in the back in the 70s. So, I don't know, some of you know the house, some of you don't, maybe you two don't.
Yeah, I had good friends who lived there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's charming. But yeah, the idea of adding the mica is a good one, but if it doesn't fit my budget, I'm not going to entertain it. I mean, the houses cost, as you know.
Well, I don't think adding mica would meaningfully change. I mean, maybe one would be surprised, but I mean, that's what is expensive is man hours and stuff, not adding some
Lots of
mica.
material. If they add up.
I doubt it would make a big difference, but.
Just so you know, we did restore the windows and which is what you guys preferred. We did put on slate roof. We've done, we've added the copper coping, which was probably original. So, we're obviously acting in good faith, but without having a historic record of even who designed the house, when it was built, what the materials were at that point. It seems like
Well, I think this, the basis, if you will, is what they saw and appreciated. So if there's some, some interest and latitude, et cetera, in going towards what's proposed, that would be a small concession to make.
Then maybe obviously I've misunderstood. I thought the trellis on either side of it was to remain.
I don't remember that needing to remain. It was something that was added much later. And it was debilitating the facade. So it was removed to preserve the facade. And again, we don't know when that was added or like. Just the lack of records are a little baffling to us. We were hoping, I know some of the houses have great records, some of them, there are no records. So it's been frustrating. We've gone to research of the Tuxedo Library, Tuxedo Park
Historical
Library, and we've gone and asked them to research. We don't find much, and then when we do find things in terms of the actual house itself, we find ownership changes, but nothing about materials originally used, floor
I mean,
plan,
I do,
architect.
I do think that taking away the trellis, it's more than trellis, it really is almost an arbor that but it reveals a lot of the sort of beauty, the classical beauty, the sort of that period and the way that in the Art Deco and sort of international style, if you like, the way they were sort of playing with classical tropes. I think it's really, that used to get a little bit muffled, I think, by the.
Anyway, it's done. So I mean, the color change. It's I mean, if it's already that old stucco is already gone, it's already been painted over, then it's I mean, my opinion is that it's your house, then that's gone, that original-ish element, then, you know, do whatever you like to it. It's, you know, the gray obviously is not unpleasant. It's, you know, it looks great. It's so, you know, that I think that would be fine. It's just I just, you know, for the record, I just want to state it's a shame that, you know, that it's I mean, I love contemporary Bauhaus, modern brutalist architecture. I'm a big fan. It's just a shame that there was this charming, very, you know,
Like a patina.
yeah, it was just, you know, just a lovely little folly in the park. You know, I'm sure if you came to us and built a house and said, I want to paint it pink, we'd say no. So the fact that it was already like that, sort of, you know, raspberry, it's a shame. You know, it's a loss. So I just feel a bit sad that that's gone. But, you know, what you're proposing is very clean, neat, and as Rob said, it, you know, it stands alone itself. It's very chic. It's a solid thing. I'll just miss the old one. But if you could, yeah, as a compromise, add the mica to that color paint, I think I would be happy.
I mean, I'm not a contractor. Can they add a mica?
Well, if
micaceous-
you're stuccoing, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a stucco. This is just, yeah, it'll be stucco.
So, yeah, that's, you can, you know, there's particulate anyway, you can add, and I just came back from a house, as I say, that was, and the play of light and depth, I mean, I think it would be a great enhancement. I love the way the color, you know, mimics the stonework and the local trees and but I think it is a meaty, rich, deep color. I think it could stand to have a little bit of play and depth and I think, you know, what my colleagues were loving, and I do remember too, although I didn't recently see it and focus on it, was that kind of depth and play.
Mhm.
So I think,
And it wasn't barn red, you know, it was a very special, unique color.
It's like this raspberry sorbet.
I know.
but adding this might bring some of that effect back, but with the color that you love, and I think for good reason, you love it for, I think, my sense is that you're trying to have it sort of, be in a conversation with the stonework and the trees and.
Yeah, and then tying in the slate roof with the stone walls, which, by the way, we restored all the stonework for the last year. That was almost 5 months of every day.
To perfection. I mean, what a
It's,
labor of love.
it's, you know, and the idea of making it more of a gray, also the garage is hideous. And the garage, we feel like it was from the 70s. And we feel like if you did more of a gray, it would sort of make it go away a little bit. And
There was somebody in the park, I think was it Constant Dyke? Was he an expert he built the house by the Weewa Dam? Was he an expert in stucco? Was there some,
I think he did some masonry work. I don't know if he was an expert, but he did masonry work.
someone was telling me his name came up, but I don't think it was him. There was someone that in the area was like famed for stucco.
what's his name? Do you remember?
Well, I don't know whether it was Constant, and he's dead. Constant
dead,
Dyke,
yeah.
he's be dead. He's still dead, so we can't ask
He's
him.
still
You gotta
dead.
let us know.
Right.
You have to get a Ouija board.
But there's I think it may not be him. There may be someone else. So I'll find out. That was like the other people around said, "Oh my God, yeah, he was the king of stucco. He knew." But I think this is going back. So I'll try and find his information for you. So maybe he could opine on it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
What is your view on it?
Yeah, I like the color. The broad, open walls, you know, the color, I mean, you know, the mica, some richness would probably, it would probably benefit from. I mean, the stonework, putting it all together, that house was in poor shape. I remember when the Lions lived there. It was a beautiful relic. I mean, it was a beautiful house. And it's great that it's being taken care of. Yeah.
What's your opinion?
Yeah, I agree with Chris on this. I think got the right idea. It's an attractive product at the end. I think if you can enhance it, the way Rob's describing, I think it's probably a good idea, but again,
That's the idea. And this is a
I
horrible.
think check the pricing out on it if it isn't,
Right.
check the pricing on it, if it's something that's,
I really don't want I don't like millennial gray any more than I think maybe anyone else does.
So
So
what is this gray? Does it
actually,
say
it's the same color we presented last year. It's called Sparrow.
sparrow?
Gray. It comes like
Is that
gray.
somewhere? Did you write that down somewhere?
That's like the bird.
Where does it say that on? Do you have a number or is it Benjamin Moore or is it Benjamin Moore?
Email us a paint
Is
code.
it? Yeah.
I,
So is it like semi-gloss or what? What?
Well,
Oh, no,
it
this
would
is
be
just,
stucco, yeah.
so that,
So we just give them
right,
that
it's
color,
just-
ask them to mimic,
right,
you know,
okay.
dark and evil.
And then the other, the white, that's all staying. It's just the
Mhm.
stucco.
is there any lattice work going back or the lattice work is off?
No, the lattice work fell off. The house is just in such bad shape, but
Not for long.
the birds weren't there. Trust me. We checked, like, emails, bro. I'll send you the.
I think, I don't
email me the
remember, I don't
color.
remember, I thought did we allow that trellis to go? I think we possibly did, but
I thought we wanted it. Yeah, but-
I'd love to, I'd just love to
Still-
check on that one, because it's too long ago. Do you recall?
I'd have to look back at the minutes. I do remember there was some discussion about
There
it
was a
needing,
long
it needed
discussion.
repair, that's for sure.
Right,
And there was vines and stuff growing within it, but I didn't know if the board approved it to be removed or not.
we just have to look into that.
Okay.
So, so are we ready to vote on this?
Sure.
So, so I'd make a motion to, vote on the following, which is for 72 Lookout Road, to change the exterior color to a stucco with the inclusion of mica, using the color Sparrow. And the,
Benjamin Moore color sparrow
well, yeah, yes, to match
to
in
match that. right.
stucco, the Benjamin Moore Sparrow color, and for the for the BAR to just confirm the past opinion on the trellises.
And that includes the garage as well. You're painting the garage the
That's
same.
stucco.
Sorry? And
Stucco and
So
sparrow.
both the house and the garage.
the garage
Structures.
to be also covered in the same stucco that we just approved in the same color. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who's
Aye.
it?
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Oh.
I'm too broken over it. I love what you do. I really appreciate everything else you do, but I'm a traditionalist and I just love that color so much. I would never have chosen it, but it was such a special color that was already there. I'd love to save buildings, that's, so I'm just, but you've got
Keep
your
in mind,
opinion.
One other thing, the back of the house had 4 different stuccos on it. The garage was one color, the back of the house had 3 stuccos, and there was just the 2 facades that had it, so it was never, by the time we got the property, it was literally just things were falling apart. And they would take the vines down, this would fall off, and it was just, it
It was
wasn't.
falling down.
We
That
were
is,
more
I
interested in
agree.
saving the house
Yes.
and getting the mold out of it and making it habitable than some of the exterior
Well, thank you.
additions.
Right, right.
Well, you're approved, so
Yeah.
thank you so
What are you
much.
calling the house? You're calling it still Tanglewood
It has
or
a name, doesn't it?
Tanglewood, yeah.
I mean,
That's
if we
a
keep
great
it
name.
pink, it
Got it.
would be Barbie's dream house now. If we make it gray, I don't know, we have to think of something a little more butch. So Tanglewood.
Does Tanglewood date back from?
Tanglewood's the name of the previous house, the big Victorian house.
Ah.
That's a fabulous.
That it's on the site up, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
very interesting name, yeah, Tanglewood. Is that up in Massachusetts?
Yeah, yeah,
right?
the Berkshires.
Yeah, the Berkshires, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming. See you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
So I'm back for phase 2 of Devereaux Residence on Continental. And we did the rear with the street enhancements and the riparian buffers and everything. And now we're just fixing the driveway and planting some of the front. So the existing driveway, you can see it's sort of an unusual shape. It enlarges here. It's very impractical. We've had numerous water issues, which the town has luckily taken care of a portion of that because a lot of water comes down Tower Hill. And they had to add a catch basin on both sides of the street here because it would just literally go around the corner and it was going down his driveway and just there were one storm, there were ruts that are about, 16 inches deep. So again, those two drains were added. There was a new asphalt sort of raised area that was added. So the existing driveway, if you look at it now, it still has it's pitched into the house as opposed to away from the house. So water just sort of sits here. There's a step, a granite cobble walkway to the side door entry, and that's just completely wet all the time. And if you notice the existing steps, there's a drop in the riser height from like 7 inches to about 9 or 10 right now. So we have plenty of room to raise that up and pitch it correctly, pitch it this way and then out here. So what we're proposing to do is make the driveway this more functional curved shape. Instead of right now, there's a single cobble border, but it's only showing about 2 inches above, the crushed stone. So again, we're gonna repitch it, and instead of doing the single, sort of half curb, we're gonna do a double flat laid curb. And then we're gonna add some entry
Flat laid,
skirts.
meaning,
Flat laid, so there's no bump up. It's
Okay.
not a curb.
Beautiful.
It's flat.
Right.
And then we're gonna do it in a crushed stone. We would like to do tar and chip because again, the amount of water that comes down. And we're gonna be adding in a channel drain here to catch water. We're gonna do a little seepage pit in this lawn area so that we'll take care of a lot of that bulk water here. And then right now, like this part of the driveway is asphalt, this part is, crushed stone, but again, in horrible shape. We're gonna make it all the same. So that border will continue here, that flat laid border. And we're also gonna add another channel drain in front of the garage because the water just sits right in front of the
When
garage.
you're saying you're making, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
when you say making the same, it's gonna be gravel rather than
All
asphalt.
crushed stone, yes.
That is
Hardship,
fabulous,
hopefully. But,
fabulous.
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So it'll be much more functional for him. He won't have that sitting water. So that's the bulk of the improvements. I'm also just slightly realigning that same kind of cobblestone running bond walkway that's existing now. I just want to curve it a little bit more because I want to bring attention to the front door since those two doors are so close to each other. Planting wise, it's not a lot of planting. There's a beautiful Chinese elm that's old that we're keeping, obviously. There's an existing cherry tree that we're keeping. Right now, there's some overgrown hedges, some andromedas that are taller than the windows. So we're just gonna take that back. We're gonna add some andromedas now in the corner here so that you don't see the generator. There's sort of a little hole here. But I'm gonna take things down a little bit. So we're gonna use autolucan cherry laurel in front of the bay window here. And on this side, again, curving the path, I'm gonna use a native calicanthus as an accent piece along this wall. This wall right now is blank stucco, and again, since I'm trying to, make the focus on the front door, we're gonna do climbing hydrangea on that wall so that it's, completely covered. We're gonna replace the
So what
boxwood
is-
now.
what is- That's not native, right?
Calicanthus is
And the
native.
climbing hydrangea,
Climbing hydrangea, I think, is native.
is it?
yeah,
Okay.
I think so, but.
And then it's just a tapestry of ground covers and ferns. So there are, some natives, there are some not natives. I'm adding ferns, some false forget-me-nots, Japanese forest grass. There are some phlox or campanula, Birch's hybrid, a little bit of allium. They wanted a little bit more color because they have some color now in the back. There are stilbees, some mountain pinks. There's some low Deutzia ground cover shrub, which has the white flowers, some irises, and some Japanese anemones for some fall color. So I'm trying to give them some additional color. There's Hoichera Autumn Bride under the cherry tree, again with more
What's
stilbes.
that, Autumn Bride?
Autumn Bride is a native. It's a coral bell that's a native. It has
Oh, a native, okay.
fuzzy leaves, and then it has these beautiful white foamy, almost like a foam flower.
Oh,
kind of-
can I write that down? Can I say
Yeah,
it again?
Hoichera.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I know that.
Autumn Bride.
Yeah, I didn't know the first, but okay.
And then right now, I know it has this horrible Barbary hedge that we all hate.
That's coming down, right?
And I wish I could remove it, but it gives him an immense
my
sense of
God.
privacy.
But he got Lyme disease. And I told him he got Lyme disease because of that Barbary hedge.
Can we just get rid of that?
Well,
I mean, there are
run
so many
point.
other hedges.
No, I
Are the
know, but
red
it's
ones-
it's a huge expense because it literally goes from all the way around the corner and
Am I
all the
right
way.
in thinking that the red ones are less invasive, like they're a little bit more,
I mean, you see a lot more green ones going
but
rampant.
these ones are like,
Yeah, I
inner.
haven't really seen, because, we did a lot of work in the back. I haven't seen any.
I've never
little-
seen red ones
red
reseeding, unless they
saplings that
revert to
haven't.
the.
They revert,
green.
yeah.
Oh, so they are still seeding, they just
They-
revert.
they still, the, even though they're prohibited, there are some versions which are sterile, which the nursery is allowed to sell, and,
Yeah.
but, it's.
They're just so worthless.
No,
You
they
know-
are.
you know,
I
they're
totally agree,
no-
but it's
I mean,
a
they're
huge
no,
expense, and
um,
so we
Hurt
want to
you,
sort
I
of-
mean, no.
Maybe that'll be phase 3.
I mean, it'd be great if there's like the edge, you could plant something that if you had the go ahead to say, well, let's plant this instead, just to do 2 or 3,
Yeah,
and then
what-
that way he could
At
see.
the end
oh,
of the garage, in that first phase, I did add some, linden viburnums and some, I used wildfire Nissa, so I tried to break it up. Because the Barbary sort of ended here, so I tried to, I wasn't gonna introduce any more of it.
Mm.
But in this case, I was just gonna front plant it, because he wants, again, more flowering things, so we were gonna add 2 Japanese tree lilac trees, so he has summer blooming, because they're there a lot in the summer. But I am using the Carex pennsylvanica, so just nice ground covers, the Japanese forest grass, a lower growing Andromeda, forest imp, and then a native hydrangea, lace cap hydrangea in here against it. So I'm trying to break it up a little bit, and then hopefully, once that gets going, he might, replace at least the center section with something, more native.
Is there any way you could find some, just for the trees, to
Mhm.
find native ones that, the thing is, there's almost no butterflies left in Tuxedo Park. So when I go to my little place upstate New York, where I've been
Mhm.
planting native things, it's dense with the most unbelievable spectacular moths and butterflies. But here there's almost nothing because generations and generations of gardeners have planted things that no little caterpillar can eat. So that's why we also don't have these fabulous birds that I have upstate. You could have Baltimore Orioles, but they cannot feed their young if there's no biomass.
No, I
So is there
understand.
any way you
If
could
you
just
looked at
add
what I
even-
did with the stream bed, I mean,
Yeah.
there's Acanthemum, there's Monarda, that I used
Mm.
Echinacea, I did a
No, it's
lot
not
of
just the
natives
food
back then.
plants, though. So the
Yeah.
butterflies need the food, but
Mhm.
they need to lay their eggs. So if those poor butterflies lay an egg on a Japanese maple, that egg dies. So you actually, people like to see them, they attract them, and then they kill their offspring. It's really weird to me.
Mhm.
So is there any way you can just find a couple of trees as host plants?
Maybe I could switch to red buds there. I mean, he has the
Yes.
cherry.
Red buds are so,
It's
you know
not
how
summer-
fabulous they
he-
are?
He's looking
No,
for summer.
summer.
blooming.
okay,
What about,
And it's
like,
hard.
what about bottle brush buckeye? That blooms.
I put some in the back.
yes.
And I love that
That's
plant,
a
but
good-
it's
and
not a tree, it's a bush. It's not, it
Hybrid,
wouldn't
yeah.
work here.
I see, right.
Okay,
Um,
well,
and what about shadblow? Service,
that's too
service.
soon.
Well, it's-
The-
Oh, that's
the
too
one-
soon. I see,
Ah.
right.
Yeah.
What
Again, I
about-
love shadblow. I've added them
Yeah.
at the Mayhans. I'm adding some at the Rick.
Oh,
Inns.
God, that
Yeah.
garden looks so good.
Thank you.
Man.
Here's a really good thing you
Mm-hmm.
can plant that is so spectacular. I know it's not summer blooming, but it's a native plum. Have
Oh,
you
yeah.
seen those? They're these these spectacular tall shrubs that are almost trees.
Mhm.
And they've got the most unbelievable fragrance that nobody else has. I would definitely recommend that for people. And you can eat the fruits. You know, it's just, they're fabulous. And if you ever saw the native bees that I get on those,
Mhm.
it sounds like an airport, and they're non-stinging, you know that, right?
No, I know,
Non-
I'm never worried
non-stinging.
about
No,
bees.
the native bees are mostly ground nesting and non-stinging.
Mm.
But so you think, okay, right, well, can we not think of it? So red buds are
The problem is
fabulous.
I need something that's single stem and more, almost like formalized, because it's the
Mhm.
front of the house, and I think he
Yes.
wants it a little bit.
The Halacia, what is it, the?
Halesia, I've used those, yeah.
But that's not summer blooming, right? Or is it?
It's spring blooming. The only problem, there's a Ute oak, and they tend to get very high, like the
Mhm.
Japanese tree lilacs are a smaller scale tree, so it would sort of fit under there. I don't want to, you know, I want it to make sense in the long run.
I mean, so you can tell them with the red buds.
Mm.
You can take the flowers and make capers out of them. And then you can also bake them into pancakes. So I know that they're not for the summer, but they're so spectacular in the spring. I think maybe you
Yeah, they
could
are.
persuade them.
All right, if I can find some nice ones.
Do you go to the Catskill Native Nursery sometime?
No,
Not too
I've really
far?
gone up there.
They've got unbelievable things.
Mm,
I mean, you could find chinkapins and some really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Edible, fantastic things. Pawpaws, how about that? Oh, they're pawpaws, how about that?
Yeah.
They're summer blooming. I know they smell of rotten meat, but you don't have to tell them.
Rotten meat and then big fruits.
But in
That
general,
might be a
this-
hard sell.
This whole program is so impressive. It makes total sense.
Thank you.
I'm all for it. And thank you for tweaking
Yeah,
a few
thank you.
things. Thank you for the Calacanthus.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if for the Japanese forest grasses that there's no sort of indigenous sage or something that would be.
I mean, I have used the Carex pennsylvanica. I just didn't want to use it all over. I
Right.
mean.
But I mean,
Is it as a ground, is it as a ground cover, or are you
It is a
just at
ground
some
cover.
height, or?
No, the Carex pennsylvanica is very low and flowing, so I used it as a texture, but
Mhm.
you feel
I
like you might be
the-
overusing it to.
Yeah, because it really would line this whole center section and then both sides. Right now I have the Carex here and then in the center, and then I just have the Japanese forest grass on the edges.
I mean, and you're making a lot of efforts to bring in indigenous clearly. So I mean, I'm. all
And I
for
think
it.
biodiversity also is a big thing, you know, that
Mhm.
we sort of have both and both work together.
The question about the only critique that I have is the double. What's the reasoning behind the double? I love the fact of the granite. I love the fact that it's flush.
Yeah.
Because you know it makes it look suburban. So
Yeah.
so the double aspect makes it a little bit more suburban. What's the reasoning behind that?
It's almost like a double wide driveway
Mhm.
for two cars, so I just felt scale wise that maybe it needed a little bit more,
Definitely.
you
Framing.
know.
Okay. That was my only critique. But apart from that, yeah, no, thank you. It's nicely thought out. And everything worked out in the back. Were there any disappointments, any plants that we were pushing that didn't work out or?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
done really well, and along the stream, it's amazing. You should
Really?
visit it in July.
We'd love to see it,
Yeah.
you know, we have to learn. I really
Mhm.
want to keep learning.
Yeah, no, because your feedback is great that, you know, because we're, you know, well, I'm any theory about this is great and, you know,
Yeah.
and you put it in and it's like, it's not great here. So any feedback like that, we're always appreciative of.
Oh, it's actually, I've always been like strong on having plantings along water because it's a filtration and
Right.
and it's just helped so much. Cause you know, he would have between the water coming down the road and then it all went into the, you know, the stream system and he would have washout all the time and now it doesn't wash out. You know, the neighbor's not getting extra water.
So interesting.
And I mean, it's,
Fantastic.
you know,
Primarily from the plantings. that
yeah,
are
I mean, the
able to-
ostrich fern, the picanthamum's doing like.
They're
there's a
thirsty
lot-
and they're-
Yeah, and they're just soaking up all the water
Wow.
to help
Isn't that
that
amazing?
overrun, so it's
Who
really
doesn't
good.
love riparian buffer?
Don't talk dirty.
Yeah.
So were there comments, any other?
No, it's wonderful.
It's all good.
Thank you.
So, with regards to 178 Continental Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the plans as presented by Andrea Buckingham, with one exchange of red buds, I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's entirely approved. Do I have a second?
Second?
I,
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
thank you.
Bye.
Was I supposed to provide some more information about the deer fencing? Or did you,
So, we were criticized for being rambling, which was my fault. And we were hoping, I do understand, I do agree, it was lengthy and it could be shortened, so it'd be fantastic if you could shorten it and be more specific on the size of
the height of the?
the height and also the size of the mesh.
Yes,
The
okay.
gauge.
And we should introduce, we should add the word or similar. So, and then, so we just using the same idea but shortening it and then reapproving it.
Okay, so I will take care of that and
Okay,
present it to the next meeting.
thank you. And then lastly, the minutes. So I didn't get a chance to read the last minutes. So could we just
Table it for the next meeting.
approve the ones from 2 meetings ago that we didn't do?
Mhm.
So, so it's the ones from March the 3rd, right, John?
Sorry, I don't have.
Yes,
updated.
yes, it is.
So, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minute from the last session of March the 3rd, 2025. Did everyone get a chance to read them?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? Thank you. And if there's no other business, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting today at 6:47.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Lovely.
I have a couple of questions. Well, one question.
On the record or?
No, off the record, yeah.